In this video you will learn what is critical chain project management, what are buffers, what are the steps involved in critical chain project management, what exactly is critical chain project management. Critical chain project management, like the critical path technique, tries to determine the critical set of activities as well as the time limit necessary to finish a project. CCPM, on the other hand, takes it a step further by accounting for the project's resources. Critical path project management has a major flaw in that, while it works in theory, it fails to account for the fact that, in the real world, you do not have unlimited resources in your work, you only have so many workstations, staff members, etc. And you also have real-life constraints that exist in your work, limiting how much work can be completed. The critical chain is described as the longest route in the schedule that takes activity dependency and resource limits into consideration. In other words, CCPM looks at the schedule to see which tasks, if they are late, could make the project's end date slip. The critical chain is therefore established, and the processes and resources needed to accomplish a project as quickly and efficiently as possible are highlighted. Eli Goldratt's theory of constraints is the cornerstone of critical chain project management. The real capacity of your business is at the heart of critical chain project management, much like DBR scheduling. CCPM analyzes your work and identifies the resources needed as well as the limits that exist to establish what can be done, rather than depending on theories and algorithms to predict what should be done. CCPM is a method for managing projects that helps you finish the most tasks and do your best work. What are buffers? Buffers are used in CCPM and DBR scheduling to guarantee that the chain does not break and that jobs are finished on time. Buffers are strategic safeguards that are built into the critical chain to make sure that the project runs smoothly and that unplanned events don't change the delivery date. CCPM normally makes use of three kinds of buffers. 1. The project's buffers. This buffer is used as a backup for critical chain activities and is positioned between the final job and the project completion date. Any delays in the critical chain will decrease this buffer, but the project completion date will not change. 2. Buffers for feeding. This buffer sits between the last job on a non-critical chain and the critical chain. These buffers are provided to a feeding chain to guarantee that delays on a non-critical chain do not affect the critical chain. 3. Resource buffers. These buffers are added to the critical chain to guarantee that necessary resources are available throughout the project. These are generally known as critical resources. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. On my website, projectmanagerig.com, you can get the free templates for your project management needs as well as training based on my 544-page book Project Management for Managers, Program and Project Portfolio Management in Banking. Please see the details below in the description. Steps involved in critical chain project management. CCPM is used by many corporations and organizations, including Boeing, NASA, and Texas Instruments, to speed up procedures and assure project completion on schedule. Follow these 7 steps to integrate CCPM into your work. Determine the critical path. Before you begin, you must determine which activities are most critical and which will take the most time to perform. These are the tasks that will constitute your crucial path. Determine the resources needed to build the critical chain. Because critical chain project management focuses on resources, keep any resource limits in mind while allocating people, workstations, supplies, and so on to projects. Consider the collection of activities that, if delayed, will extend the project's finish date by looking at resource availability while developing your critical chain. This is your critical chain, complete with resource limits. All activities that are not part of the crucial chain are included in the feeder chain. Make a schedule as late as possible. Create a schedule using scheduling software that works backward from the completion date through each task, with each starting on the latest possible start date. This contrasts with the normal practice of starting as soon as feasible. This strategy will instill a sense of urgency in the project team, causing them to perform to the best of their abilities, while also preventing multitasking, which can stymie your team's productivity. Include buffers. Determine the locations of buffers along the critical chain and the feeding chains. You must also identify the right amount of buffer. A basic rule of thumb is that the bigger the buffer, the greater the risk or uncertainty involved with an action. Create a detailed project model. If you're utilizing the critical chain technique, you're definitely working on a huge, demanding project. Make a precise project model that your whole team can use to guarantee that the project is completed on schedule. The model may be used by your team to determine how effectively the project is developing. Best to avoid multitasking. When workers transition between jobs, their productivity falls and their task duration increases. Finally, team morale declines as your team members strive to keep the project moving ahead. The critical chain project management technique directs workers' attention to fewer tasks at a time, helping teams to accomplish projects faster. Project supervision. To ensure that the project continues on schedule, continue to monitor it and seek out accomplished milestones. Manage buffers and obtain the information required to govern the plan and, if necessary, recover. Click on the video card on the right to understand tools for software requirements, management and mind mapping. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. On my website, projectmanagerig.com, you can get the free templates for your project management needs as well as training based on my 544-page book Project Management for Managers. Program and project portfolio management in banking translated into 9 languages and counting. Please see the details below in the description and where to buy my book and what is the best program and project management software, PPM.